Everybody loves a bargain, don't they? Well, here's some great news for you all. Petey's Bike Bonanza is back, taking place on Sunday the 12th of November at Magna Science Adventure Centre. That's near Rotherham, and it's right next to the M1. It's now in its fourth year. The Bonanza pulls together some of the UK's greatest brands and shops looking to clear out stock at heavily discounted prices. Not only that, but the Bonanza will have pro riders and teams selling this year's bikes and kit. The event is open to anyone looking to sell anything bike related, and stall hire starts from just £25. Just to recap, the Bonanza is on Sunday the 12th of November, opens at 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Admission tickets can be purchased in advance via the website, which is petersbikebonanza.co.uk, but they're also going to be available on the door. We'll be there with Hook It with some old stock, some samples and all sorts of stuff, and we may have a little podcast thing too. So see you there. Come over, say hello. Greetings and welcome back to Podcastville. This episode of the Hook It podcast is once again supported by 35 Bikes. And 35 Bikes are dedicated to bringing you the best bike components for the best prices. And with winter just around the corner, make sure you're stocked up on brake pads, maybe throw a new mud guard on your bike as well to keep the lovely British mud out of your face. All you have to do is head to 35bikes.com, enter promo code podcast at the checkout, and you'll get 20% off your entire order, and you can also take advantage of free shipping. That's 35bikes.com, promo code podcast. And this episode is also supported by our friends at Sax Underwear. Sax categorically make the best underwear on the planet, and not only is winter coming, but Christmas is knocking on the door too. So if you're struggling for gifts or you just want to improve someone's life, then make sure you purchase a set of Sax underwear for them. You can find them anywhere. Just Google Sax Underwear, head to your local bike shop, or hit us up if you're struggling to find a stockist and we'll tell you where they are. It's that simple. All right, let's do this thing.
Hi, I'm Ollie Wilkins, and this is the Hook It podcast. Hold tight, freshers. Okay.
What's going on, podcast fans, and welcome back. Another episode of the Hook It podcast. This is episode number 35, and I never ever know how to start these things. It's always super awkward being sat here talking to myself, but thanks again for listening. If you're a new listener, then welcome to the party, and if you're an old listener and a loyal listener, then thanks and welcome back. As usual, I always like to say a massive thank you to everyone who's reached out in between episodes and give some constructive criticism or even some props. Anyone who's left an iTunes review, they help massively. So if you haven't done that already, please go to iTunes, leave us a little review and some thoughts and feelings about what you think about the podcast. Whether it's positive or negative, it's always good just to read them and hopefully keep improving. Again, since we did the Craig Evans episode, there's been a bunch of those things coming in. So thanks a bunch. Thank you. Obviously on this episode, we've got Lewis and Rich. This is the second time we've done this podcast. I screwed up massively the first time we did it and didn't press record. And if I did, I don't know what happened. I don't know, one of those things. So thankfully, Rich and Lewis were really, really, really cool about it and just were like, oh, no worries, we'll do it again. So this is the second time we've recorded it. It's the third time we've tried to record it, but more about that in the episode. And I've also got something pretty cool in the pipeline, which I don't want to go too public with yet, because if it doesn't happen, I'll look like a dick. But if you keep watching the Instagram live videos that I keep doing, I'm trying to get some feedback on a question. Obviously, this podcast has got a good little following these days, and I want to try and use the following to do something beneficial and good in the world. So if you keep checking out the Instagram live videos, more will be revealed on there, and I'm just looking for some feedback from people. All right. Let's not hold this thing up anymore. Episode 35, Lewis and Rich Payne, the differences between being a pro and a privateer racing the Enduro World Series. Let's go. All right, guys. If you're good, we'll get straight into it.
Yeah, ready when you boys are. Yeah, ready.
All right, well, believe it or not, I actually hit the record button about 5 or 6 seconds ago. I already preempted this one. So I think we've got to kick it off with an apology, both to you guys and to everyone else who listens to this thing, because it's weird. Like, I know, like when we first recorded this, I was chatting about how much of a following it's got and stuff, and it's crazy. Like, the episode didn't go out, and people started messaging like, "Where is it? I'm gonna drive to work, and I've not got anything to listen to and stuff." So yeah, huge apology to you guys and to everyone else. Yeah, totally my fault. Just forgot to hit record. Well, I think I did do it, and I've maybe undone it or something. I don't know. Who knows?
you undid record.
Yeah, I did. You gotta laugh at that.
These things happen.
Yeah, they do. So thanks to you guys. Like, really appreciate it. Obviously, I said straight away to you guys. I think a couple of minutes after, I was like, I think there's a problem, and both of you were like, "Don't worry, we'll just do it again." I was like, "Thank God." You guys. It was you guys. So yeah, appreciate it. And thanks again. Welcome back. We're doing this again. Deja vu episode. We'll call this one.
Oh, that's a good name for it. Yeah,
I think it is. I like that one.
No.
So
I've been trying to forget everything that was said last time as well.
I've got a pretty bad short-term memory anyway. So if I'm honest with you, I pretty much forgot it all.
Yeah,
it's weird. I can pick up things from like 10, 15 years ago and remember stuff that last week and whatever it's nothing there. So hopefully it'll work in our favour a little bit tonight, although it might feel a little bit deja vu-y, but what can we do about it?
Not a lot.
Exactly. So I kind of wanted to ask you though, just purely out of interest, what's the biggest screw up you guys have ever done?
Rolled a digger at work once. That was annoying.
There you go. See, that's worse than what happened with us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That proved to be way more expensive.
What about you, Lou?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say being an idiot and dropping my bladder at this year's race and losing all my points. I don't know.
That's a good one. That's a great one, actually.
Yeah,
that's two very different things right there, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
And in context, just forgetting to press record isn't huge, but it's just frustrating. It was always going to happen. Like, it's such a... It was just, I don't know, man. I've dreaded that. And Chris he runs Downtime Podcast. He messaged me straight away. He's like, that's my worst fear ever. Just something happening with that one red button that it just doesn't record. So we've got it out of the way, hopefully, now. So
it's done.
It's done. So, right, pick things up where we left off, which is start off at the beginning. So, Lewis, you came on this thing a little while ago. You were just heading into your first full EWS season. Yeah. You couldn't say who you'd signed for yet. It obviously became apparent it was Trek Bikes, the factory team too, which is rad. But can you tell a little bit more about how that happened? How the deal sort of came to fruition? God, big word for Monday night.
I mean, I had nothing. I only signed with 1 year with BMC, so my season last year came to pretty quick halt when I broke my elbow. So for me, I just had to try and hunt down something like a deal that would kind of allow me to race the following year. So the Trek thing came about super late, but just I guess the timing was right, and the two results that I had from last year were obviously very helpful. But other than that, kind of had nothing to go off. So I mean, I guess it was a risk, like with them signing me, but I think I've had a pretty good year this year. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I've had a good year with the team. So
good, man. I think we said, like, I'm no doubt going to say this a million times over, but on the last episode, the one that no one will ever hear, that obviously you came into the season, relatively, I wouldn't say unheard of, but you'd only done a couple of rounds of the EWS before, but then you've had a pretty stellar year on paper, and you must be stoked, and obviously Trek must have been pretty stoked with that too.
Yeah, I think it was hard to kind of figure out where I would be this year as far as starting out, just because of only having those 2 rounds and then coming off such a big injury. Like, it doesn't really sound it, just breaking your elbow, but the way I'd done it in the state it was in, it was pretty damn nasty. So for me to even make it back, or make it for the first round, was like something I was pretty impressed with, because it was to a point where the plan was to come back for the last couple rounds this year. So
wow.
To make it through the whole season and stay upright was something I'm pretty proud of. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it wasn't like a stellar year, but I mean, it's good building block and stepping stone to a good year next year. So
yeah, for sure.
Was your elbow like 100% then, or was it not like fully back yet going into the season?
It was. It's quite hard to explain. It was when I was riding, it wasn't really giving me any pain. The biggest issue was just the range of motion. Like today, I still can't straighten my elbow fully. So just having to like adapt like my riding position. So if you look at sometimes, like, it's quite noticeable in photos, one elbow's always bent.
Okay.
Like, I just can't straighten it. So it's something I've had to deal with. But I feel like now it's to the point, or this season, it's not actually affecting me. Like, I don't think about it when I race, or it's just natural now for me. So yeah, there's no issues anymore, like no pain. Like, I worked pretty hard with the rehab. So I'm a big believer, like, no matter what injury you have, if you stick to your physio and recovery and do it right, then there's no reason why you can't come back 100%. So
yeah,
nice.
Was that pretty hard for you though, being like, you know, young and ambitious and wanting to just get back on the bike, to maybe chill it out a little bit and go through everything properly, like physio and whatnot?
No, not really, just because I just have a bit of a, well, my trainer is like pretty smart, and I just trust what he says, and kind of the steps that we made were the correct ones, made at the right time. So I knew that was the only way I was going to get back racing this year, was if I kind of listened to my mind and my body and how it felt, and not took any silly risks, because I know people can jump on the bike too soon and pay the price for it. So
yeah,
everything was timed good, and yeah, it's no worries now, eh? So no hassle.
Winner.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you, Rich. So Rich is obviously star of the EWS or Bus series, which we threw together at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Mainly because Rich reached out for some help, and I was, running a distribution company. It's always hard to sponsor people as such and give away tons and tons of product and money and stuff like that. So we came up with an idea to try and do something a little bit different, which I think's worked out amazing, to be honest.
I think we nailed it, haven't we?
Yeah, the following it gained, and the series in general went down really well. We had people reaching out all the time. Front page of Pink Bike, which is pretty big, to be fair, like with the amount of content that's out there, to hit Pink Bike front page every time we did you guys did an episode, was amazing.
Yeah,
like,
all 6 episodes, front page news.
Front page news. So that was pretty cool doing that. I think it went a lot better than I expected, if I'm honest. Like, this podcast, I think, was only a few episodes in when we started it, and as it's grown, the listener base has grown and all that sort of stuff, and it's been crazy. Like, we went over the numbers, didn't we, the other day, and it's kind of crazy how it had gone up and up and up and up. Like,
well, it's over, from the first episode, it's like over tripled in the amount of people that download it alone. So that's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's always really hard, obviously, to get true download figures. It is a bit of guessing work, but yeah, it's good. Like, it was good to read them out and have a chat with you over it. It was pretty cool, and hopefully it's gonna, help for next year. But we'll see. So coming into this year, first full EWS season as well.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you made a bike switch as well. Can you tell us more about why you made the switch over to a Merida from I think it was a Chemical, wasn't it? You were riding the year before.
Yeah, so I rode on like the Chemical team last year, which is like a small little UK brand just starting up. They didn't want to like push things team wise or do anything like that any further for this year. I guess they have their own reasons. So that kind of the bike was pretty battered, obviously from a full season, so that left me like I was in the position where I needed to get a new bike. Obviously, I didn't have any like deals lined up or anything like that, so I had to buy something. So went to the local shop and bought a new Merida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, I was sort of looking for a bike to buy, something that came in like on point price wise and all the good bits and stuff. I had no idea about the Merida. I'd never ridden one or knew anyone who had one, but read some reviews. It seemed good, so yeah, stuck it on finance because I didn't have the cash in total at the time, and got cracking on it.
Got cracking.
Yeah, pretty much.
What did you think to the bike then straight away out of the box? Was it good? Like, I know obviously Merida have been awesome through the season. They helped you out with another bike. Did you break one? I can't remember. Something happened.
Yeah, I did break one. Yeah.
No, it's no. I can't remember. I genuinely couldn't remember if you broke one or not.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, mate. Yeah,
It's
I did break one.
But they were great. They stepped in. They've been cool
they hooked me up an entire bike straight away. Luckily, to keep, because it was in between races.
Uh-huh.
I only had about 2 weeks before going out to Canada, so they posted one over straight away.
Cool.
Like a whole bike, job done, which was super helpful.
Yeah.
Real kind of. So yeah, but no, I liked it out the box. It was built it up. It was lovely. Rides well. It's all like bang up to date geometry and parts wise. Boost and metric and every other gubbins you can think of nowadays. All the other different standards going on. So yeah, I was impressed and I've enjoyed riding it all season.
Awesome. Good stuff, dude. Well, it's been a pleasure to watch as well. I want to talk a little bit more about like the pre-season. Obviously, Lewis, you took a new deal with Trek. How does that kind of work then with regards to getting the bike to you and getting it set up? We can come around a little bit again to how you ended up on the bike shortly, but once been a pro, does a bike just tip up at your doorstep and off you go, or is there more goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty much like that. Just signed with them, and then I guess just sorted out what bikes I wanted. So I just asked for, like, obviously the race bike, like the /29, and then I asked for a road bike. So that pretty much showed up stock, like just as you can buy it, pretty much. And we just had some stuff to stick on the bike that kind of was a little bit delayed as far as product wise. So the Trek flew someone over to Innerleithen or to Scotland, and we done some testing, put in some time for a few days, which was pretty valuable. It's cool to learn some stuff. So we're doing some like GPS testing and suspension testing, tire testing. Just kind of trying to exhaust the options really that we had to figure out what was the fastest. So
And would you say that being on a pro team, is it quite like data driven? Is there a lot of looking at a laptop and figuring out what's fastest, what's not fastest, etc.?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that weekend that we did the testing, there was a lot of timing and a lot of back-to-back runs on just different tires, different compounds. Right. But it was super productive, and I learned a lot. And it's always good to test products like that, not in a race situation, just so that we can figure out whether it's going to work or not. But it was definitely a good thing to do, and it's definitely beneficial to have that kind of support from a team like that. And then the season started, and I guess like stuff kind of pours in as the year goes on, like new product comes out, or we were, like different tire compounds came out. We were on a different type of material of wheel, like halfway through the season. So there's like the access to different stuff is there, which is helpful.
And is it pretty much an endless pool for you guys being on the team? It's like, I want to try this, that, or the other, or is there must be a few limitations to stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that type of
Right.
rider that's kind of searching for the perfect setup. I just believe that in enduro there isn't a perfect setup. You just have to find something that you're comfortable with, because the terrain and venues vary so much that you're going to be hunting forever to try and nail a setup for like each individual track or stage.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say the only kind of grey area is carbon wheels.
Okay.
Just I've requested it just through curiosity, and it's not even really an option.
Right.
Just they're not very durable, and I've seen a few carbon wheels end some people's weekends. So
I think Rich had an experience with that, didn't you, dude?
Almost. I did. I was running some carbon wheels at the start of the season, and carbon wheels definitely have their advantages.
Yeah.
The trouble with carbon wheels is if you do hit one hard enough and they break, it's not like an aluminium wheel where you can kind of blag it and bend it back and straighten out any dings or whatever. They just go.
Yeah.
And if they go, that's game over. So I started on carbon, but I made the switch to aluminium wheels second race for me in, just for the reliability more than anything.
Yeah, I think it's American Classic, isn't it? That are pretty helpful with you, where you were. Was it Madeira? Maybe
it was.
Madeira.
So,
obviously, they hooked you up with another wheel and stuff. But obviously, if you didn't have those contacts, you'd have been pretty much screwed.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, if you were like, American Classic has been good and sponsored me for wheels all season. But if you were like proper on your lonesome and you just smashed a wheel in half, then crikey, you've either got to have deep pockets to go to the local bike shop or something, or be a master blagger, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get a brand new rim built up straight away, and not really miss any practice too much or anything.
Yeah.
But
so do you think, like, out of the whole EWS field, how many people are running carbon, do you think, on average? Because Lewis said the other day, didn't he? It was like probably nobody in the top 20.
I would say, or from what I know, just off the top of my head, I would say 2-3 people maybe inside the top 20, maybe. I haven't. The only time I've noticed people having carbon wheels is when their bike's upside down and their wheel's smashed in half and they're taking it off.
Yeah.
And they're the people that just are in mind. But what about you, Rich? Anyone that's...
I don't really know. I would have probably said similar to yourself, within the top 20, maybe a couple of guys have said they might have tried them in practice and stuff like this, but I don't really know many people, especially lower down the ranks. One because of cost of a wheel, but not really. No,
it's weird, isn't it? It's probably that constant search that some people are on just to have the best stuff on the bike, and it's probably not. It's not the most reliable or anything. They just want to have a set of carbon wheels, and like you say, smashing around your local trail centre, all good. But as soon as it comes to an EWS stage or something like that, then they're going to be put through the paces a little bit more.
Yeah, just not worth the hassle.
No, or the dent in your wallet if you're a privateer.
Too right, yeah.
Which comes back round to you, Rich. It's obviously start of the season again. You've grabbed the Merida. What sort of went into you getting that thing set up and ready to go racing?
Not back-to-back testing or anything like that, unfortunately.
Right.
It was a little more cash because it turned up about, I don't know, I don't get it, 4 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm not sure how long.
Right.
Bit of time before the first one, so just got it out of the box, built it up, changed a few parts. Obviously, put some different wheels and joystick bars and things like that on it, and just got a few things changed here and there. Like only stock parts, like nothing prototype going on there. But I just put some mileage in on it really, and then tweaked it as we went. So I'd get it built up and just put a road bike in the shed and did everything on that just to really get like comfortable on it, and then make tweaks that I thought were for necessary here and there. So just suspension settings a bit, finding out what's comfortable. Obviously jerseys are not really like any EWS, so I can't really set stuff up it's going to correspond too much with like a big race venue, but you can still get a base setting and get it comfy, and same with your tires and things like that, and just like cockpit, everything in place, everything comfortable, and then when you get to a race, you can make small tweaks here and there to pressures and settings and things like that. But otherwise, for me, it was just more of a case of getting comfortable on it.
Yeah. Sweet, dude. Well, it seemed to all come together. And shout out to Cycle Centre Jersey as well.
It is, yeah. Mate, you're doing all the name drops today.
You've got it, haven't you? These guys have been good.
I mean, yeah. It's a Cycle Centre. They're the Merida dealer over here, and so they're the ones who keep the old girl running nice and smooth, and have the joys of truing wheels after each race and stuff like that. But So that was sort of prep wise. That was bike prep anyway. That is kind of what I did.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as like your gear too, then, so what actually goes with your like riding clothing and all that sort of stuff? It's no secret that you own a riding clothing company, but
I was waiting for you to drop that one in there. You did. I was waiting for you to drop another name.
It's called Fox, isn't it?
Yeah, Troy Lee have been good to me.
So did you have to like buy all that stuff fresh as well? Obviously not the riding clothing, but as far as like a bag and everything else that you need to take with you.
I bought some fresh stuff this year. Obviously, all my remap clothing kind of comes out of my own pocket anyway, doesn't it? But just like some new shoes for the season because the old ones are all battered, like knee pads, things like that.
Yeah.
I don't wear a backpack racing really anyway, so that thing can stay. That thing's still muddy from like Madeira or something, I think. I obviously to keep because this year I was going a bit more all in with the racing. I tried to sort of keep spending to a minimum.
Right.
Hence why the bike was on finance, because I suppose I could have bought it outright, but then I'd have been real tight on cash for a little while. So I was like, spread it out.
Yeah. It's cool to see as well at Rotorua. You were the only guy who had a bag for life, like just strapped to your back. Oh dear.
Well, someone had to. So it was. I did obviously have a ton of fresh remap clothing on, which is always nice.
Okay, cool.
Because I go pick that off the shelf. But and obviously I had some Ninja's gloves come through as well from you boys.
They're good gloves too, aren't they? Like
they are.
Little drop there, but they are actually bloody good.
Yeah, they're really comfy. I'll be honest, I don't wear gloves normally except for races because that's when you have to. But they're a nice glove, which are really lightweight. So you're gonna have to wear one. They're a good one to wear.
For sure. One thing we spoke about on the last podcast, which was pretty interesting, was like the amount of effort which goes into setting yourself up for the season as far as travel, accommodation, and all the logistics of things go. So, Lewis, obviously you've been on a pro team riding for Trek Factory Racing. Is most of that stuff sort of taken care for you? Is there any headaches coming into the season, or can you just chill and get on with riding your bike?
You can pretty much focus on training and the racing side. So flights will be booked, accommodation will be booked. The team is pretty spot on with that stuff. We have a guy called James who comes along with us and does like massages, cooks our food, just the little things like that help out. And he's like super, supportive and just knows the right things to say to the racers, like pre-race and post-race and whatnot. So
right,
it's a good setup, and it definitely makes it easier to focus on your job, I guess. I think there's like, looking at you guys, obviously we're doing the whole pro and a privateer thing. This is probably one of the biggest things. I think, the amount of logistics which goes into it, especially for you, Rich, the cost of it.
I was just going to ask Lou then, like how, obviously not including the team riders, like how many behind the scenes people are there? You were saying you've got like the James, was it just then? The guy who comes to the races and stuff. But are there more people behind the scenes sort of doing, I don't know, or like if he comes to the races, do you have someone else who's in charge of like logistics and stuff like that?
So usually it's at the race. It's Ray, who is basically the mechanic for me and the two girls.
Yeah.
If they can get another mechanic in that's available, then they will tend to do that. But then it's James who kind of, I guess, takes care of us basically,
like general manager sort of thing.
Yeah, that, I mean, doesn't have that title, but takes that role pretty well. So it's quite a small, tight-knit team, to be honest. Like, I remember you were saying about the pit setup and stuff like last time. It's just quite, I don't know, it's ideal, it's quiet.
You're always low-key, innit?
Yeah, so it's there are people behind the scenes, like kind of doing the travel and stuff.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so there'll be someone at Trek HQ or whatever, like sorting that stuff out. So I think it's a big kind of process, but at the races it's pretty small, which is kind of what you want, because it can get quite hectic sometimes at the enduro races. Yeah, because you were saying you prefer that in a way, don't you? Like I made the comparison, like in finale.
Yeah. Like
Commons have these massive inflatable bloody things, and there's trailers and gazebos everywhere, and then you've got like a little white gazebo tucked in the corner with Trek written on it, and it's like super low key. They don't really make a big presence or shout about it or nothing. But you were saying you prefer that in a way.
I mean, either or. It doesn't really bother me. It's cool that it's that way.
Yeah.
I think it would benefit the brand though if they had something that was more out there and like a bit more access to the fans and the public in a way. I guess Finale is such a busy place.
Yeah, too right, isn't it?
Like to have something a bit bigger and a bit kind of bold would attract more attention, which, like I said, things can get hectic, but sometimes it's good to have that kind of positive energy from the fans and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, obviously with enduro growing, I mean, do you think Trek have maybe almost, I wouldn't say dipped the toe in it a little bit, but it's like, they've got the road side of things and the downhill side of things, and then maybe enduro next year could look totally different, With them, I don't know, it's hard. Like, with them being such a big, they're obviously a big corporate company. They're not going to want to not be hitting that target market of enduro,
Yeah, but it's not like they need the advertising, is it?
That's very true as well. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I knew more as far as what their, I don't know, maybe the direction is for the future. But I mean, just focus on my racing and do what I have to do, and if the decisions they make, like, that's business decisions, and so.
I think though, Rich, like you just said, it's not like they really need to build the brand as such, but with the enduro market being what it is, it's bloody big at the minute. Every man and his dog's bought an enduro bike. You'd like to, and you look at what Sam's done for a brand like Nuteproof and stuff. I bet they kind of do want that. I bet they do want the publicity of it and stuff, because I guarantee it sells bikes. Having Lewis in the top 20
will be more like the fan
sold
interaction
bikes
as well.
Yeah, exactly, and just having the brand name out there. So it's interesting. It'd be interesting to know why they went down that route. I don't think it'll be budget cuts or anything. That's for sure. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, who knows? It's interesting. So
we'll know next year. If next year Trek have got a massive pit setup and poor Lou's had to take a pay cut.
Lou's doing the mascot job as well or something.
I hope not, dude. I hope not. You'll be fine.
You hang in there, man. So how does that compare with you then, Rich, with your experience of getting everything booked and stuff for the year? I know majority of this stuff is coming out of your own pocket. Well, all of it.
All of it is, yeah.
All of it's coming out of your own pocket. So, coming into the season, did you have everything booked in advance, or have you just gone?
No. Not by a long shot.
Oh no.
And to book it all in advance, it's like a 10, 12 grand season, isn't it, for me?
Yeah.
So there's no way that was getting booked in advance.
Right.
Each race was booked between 2 and 3 weeks in advance. Obviously, they were all entered at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But as far as booking, like I have someone as well who helps me all through the season and does my cooking and massages, very much like Lewis. She's called Amy and she's the missus.
Couldn't live with him, can't live without him.
Yeah, exactly. But no, the difference between the two of us, I think, is most apparent. There is like the sorting out the race, like the logistical side of things, the traveling, the hire cars, the accommodation, getting things booked. I mean, even like booking excess baggage for your bikes on, making sure transfers are in place, all that kind of stuff just eats into time and obviously costs money. But yeah, when you can't just say, right, I'd like to go out 2 weeks before Crankworks to like get acclimatized and just chill for a bit. I didn't even book it till like 2 weeks in advance, and I had to like find a half decent place to stay. I had to share with some random Australian dude. So it's what you got to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest differences right there. But I mean, like I said, the missus has come out to a lot of the races this year, and it's been a godsend. I'd be blooming lost without the girl. I'd be stressing loads. And
I think again that's probably another one of the big differences. Obviously, Lewis is is looking at this as a job, and then you're kind of you've had an amazing season, like. Yeah. And it's been I'm not saying you've been on holiday, but you have treated it like a bit of a vacation. You met up with family, you've had parents come with you, and it's been like more of a no, I wouldn't say a jolly, but it's very different, isn't it? It's a different approach, totally.
Definitely. We came in with obviously, Lou's going for those top spots. We came in with the view of like, obviously it's a race and I still want to do as well as I can, but it's also the experience of the race, and that's what like the whole EWS or bus thing was designed or thought up around, is like showing what racing these big things, these big events are like as a privateer, doing it out your own pocket, and not scraping bikes around, but like having me mum and me dad helping and missus helping and stuff like that. So yeah, the goal is always to do well, because I'm a racer at the end of the day. That's just, I always want to do as well as I can, but at the same time, I'm not happy to be. Oh, I am happy to be there, but like, it's the experience of that awesome race as well. Yeah. So it's slightly different outlooks on that one. Yeah,
definitely. And is that something you're pretty aware of as well, Lou? Obviously your job has enabled you to travel the world and go to some pretty cool places with cool people. I guess it's not something you really take like for granted, is it?
No, it's pretty insane. I mean, like I've said numerous times this year, I never ever thought I would go to somewhere like Tasmania to race a bike. And I mean, that's the cool thing about enduro and EWS, is that we go to unique locations, and it's like when I raced World Cup downhill, it was like the same locations every year, and it was great, and it was obviously like amazing places, but just something about the locations that the EWS goes to that are just right remote, different. So yeah, I mean, I do love my job. It's pretty amazing, but it's like, it's
a job.
Difficult. It's difficult, but I mean, like, I think it's obviously like what Rich is dealing with, and like the kind of stress, I guess, that comes with some of those things.
Right.
It's like a different stress sometimes, like when it's your job, because there's a lot on the line if stuff doesn't go well, I guess.
Yeah.
Would
you say there is a bit of pressure on your shoulders that it might not necessarily feel like there is, but do you think behind the scenes there could be a few? Obviously Trek are going to want results. They don't want DNFs every weekend. I
guess it's maybe not so much pressure from the company or whatever, or any team for that, but I guess just knowing it's your job and knowing that you have to live reasonably, and I do enjoy it and I do love it, but it's important to maintain the level that I'm at and get better and better, because then I won't have a job. To be honest.
And something I thought about after we did the rehearsal podcast last week was if, let's just say, if this deal never came to fruition with Trek,
Yeah.
did you have a plan? Like, or would you have gone it alone, done something like Rich has done, just to get out there and get seen and pick up a ride along the way, or would you have just not bothered?
For last year, are you talking about, or this year?
This year.
Beginning of the year, before you signed with Trek, because I believe when you came on the podcast, you probably did have something in the works, but it kind of sounded like there wasn't really anything happening.
I mean, other than the Trek thing coming through, honestly, if it wasn't for that, I mean, I don't know I would have somehow found a way, or like I kind of exhausted my options, really.
Right.
I probably would have tried my best, but it's hard to. I just feel like if I can't do it, fully, like all in as far as support and whatnot, then for myself, I just can't see, right. Like the amount of effort and work and training that I would have to put in to feel like I would need to be, where I want to be is quite a lot, as far as if it was, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's interesting.
I guess.
Do you think then it's possible to break like the top? Man, I'm trying to think who's in the top 20. Do you think it's possible to break the top 20 as a total privateer?
I do.
Greg did,
yes.
Who? Sorry.
Yeah.
Greg did.
Greg Callahan.
Yeah.
I think it's. I really think it's just like you gotta have like a good. If that's the case, you gotta have a good balance. You gotta be able to, like, if you are working, it needs to be somewhat flexible. If it's like something super full time and you can't get out on your bike at all, I just don't think it's going to be possible. But it is a good question, though. I do, I feel like how much I've progressed this year, I don't think I would have been able to do that if it wasn't for the support that I have.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's just, where I want to be, like around that kind of top 10 for this year anyway. Like it's not just myself. It's been a lot of pieces of the puzzle, really. It's been like my trainer, and then it's been the team. It's been a lot of parts that kind of go into getting those results. So to kind of do it without maybe any of that and just expect to be top 10, top 20, I think it's quite hard to do, especially with the level of competition that everyone's at. Not just the top 20, but like to race in EWS isn't easy.
No.
And the times are getting tighter, even though the total race time is quite big. So yeah, I mean, maybe Rich, do you have a better outlook on it than I do? Like, I'm struggling to really explain, but
No, I think what you said there is pretty bob on, because like you were saying, sort of, if you had a pretty flexible job and stuff like this, and I do, that's the only way I could have done it this year, because by trade I'm a stonemason, self-employed.
Okay.
The pluses are I am my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
Downside, you don't work, you don't get paid. But like, if you worked like a normal 9 to 5 office job or something, well, you'd never be able to get away enough, or like have the freedom, like, I don't know, knock off work an hour early, get a ride in whilst it's light, or take the time off to go away and stuff. So yeah, I think you are pretty right there, Lewis. I think you.
I think that's again one of the biggest things. You've got all the logistics and stuff, but a lot of it does come down to having time and being able to do the training or whatever it is, and bike time and all that sort of stuff. I think time is one of the biggest things. Obviously, there's talent as well, which we'll call it the double T, time and talent. But yeah, time definitely seems to be one of the biggest differences between you guys.
For sure.
So coming into the season then, Lou, obviously you come off an injury and whatnot. How did your training schedule and outlook look like to get back up to speed?
It was pretty. Well, it all started pretty late. Just the elbow just took a long time to really kind of get or even somewhat functional.
Right.
It was a pretty tough year last year, just as far as the amount of pain I was in after surgery. Like for months, like it was just ridiculous. But like I said, I just was smart and didn't rush back, and I was in good hands. So just took the correct steps to get back. And I would say coming into round one, I wasn't 100% fitness and strength and whatnot, just because I didn't have much or the time that I would have liked to prepare, as far as just, I wasn't exactly coming into the winter really fit or healthy because I had so much time off.
So was your main focus just like bike time more than anything, just miles?
It was just getting the miles in, and a lot of physio and rehab work on the elbow. Had to be careful with it though, just because I had lost so much muscle. And basically it wasn't my elbow, it was my shoulder, it was my hand, my wrist, everything was affected from that. So I mean, at the time, like maybe December, January, we were just like, right, if we can make it to the midpoint of the year, be ready for that, then that would be amazing. So we had that goal in mind, but just worked hard, and then before I knew it, it was February, March, and I was pretty much good to go really for New Zealand. So
awesome.
did kind of a little bit behind the ball as far as pace wise.
Right.
So to come to New Zealand and just to kind of expect myself to be right where I left off was maybe a bit too much to ask
ambitious.
for. Yeah, but I don't know. I guess, I had a fairly good result there. Like started, I think the first 3 stages I was almost inside the top 10.
Right.
But just solid start to the year was the goal, and to build through the season was the plan, and things went a little bit sideways, just like mechanically, and it's part of the sport, and it's what happens. But I mean, a good off season, but I'm just happy to come into this winter, like not, with an injury or coming off the bat of surgery or anything like that. So I think things will be a lot different for next year. So
And what about you then, Rich? How was your season prep? Did anything really change, or was it same as always?
Well, like we didn't actually talk about this time, but my off season this year was I did a lot of cross country as well. I did a lot of I was going for the Jersey team for the Commonwealths and the Island Games, which is like this. It's where all the islands around the world just battle it out to the death against each other. And
wow,
it's like a mini islands Olympics, if you like.
Right. Okay.
So I was in the Jersey XC team for that. So obviously, there's no enduro or downhill. So I was feeling super fit actually through the off season, and coming into the first rounds, I had some help with training and bike, like planning out bike time and stuff like this.
That's
I
pretty
forgot
cool,
to mention
man.
that last time.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So was there much, as well as that, was there much like gym work, strength work, that sort of thing?
No, it was all bike time. I didn't do much gym work.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I did like a gym session a week sort of thing. Maybe 2 if it was a miserable week. I'd go to the gym a couple of times if it was super horrible. But so my bike fitness was actually pretty good, but it was a lot of road miles and things. Because like I said, so coming into the year, at the very start of the year, I was actually going to be racing some national XCs as well as all the EWSs and stuff. The XC stuff didn't work out for various reasons over here, so I switched to just focusing fully on enduro stuff. So I suppose in that sense, from a fitness and a physical sort of prep point of view, yeah, I felt good coming into the year.
Yeah.
I felt fit and healthy. I did notice, like, going through the year, my strength wasn't as good as it could have been. So I switched the gym work up to like focus a lot more on upper body strength.
Okay.
Like I was so like lean and like cardiovascular, fit.
Yeah.
That my sort of all out strength wasn't as good as it could have been. But obviously I wasn't being specific for one thing at the time. So yeah.
That's
otherwise,
interesting.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think would be your next like jump to be fitter? If that makes sense. I mean, like, is like where you live maybe holding you back a little bit as far as that stuff goes? Like, with actual climbing and ascends and stuff like that.
I don't think it holds me back too much for being fitter.
Right.
Like, because you can get super fit wherever you live. You've got gyms and turbo trainers. All right, I haven't got like 1,000-meter mountains or nothing like that, obviously. But hill repeats, and you can do lots of stuff to make you fitter. But I find what holds me back. Obviously, Jersey does hold me back. Like, I feel holds me back a bit. I shan't lie. And it's just getting a good bike time on.
Right.
So like, I can't simulate anything EWS like at all, because the highest point in Jersey is about 350 foot, I think.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's the high. That's like highest point down to sea level,
Right.
and you can't really do that nowhere. So yeah. That. I do feel like I'm a bit scuppered when it comes to we got no massive fast trails or jumps or nothing like that. So when it's like being a kid in a sweet shop sometimes. So when you go to like Whistler, you're like, holy shit, this is amazing, and you just go mental because you have to make the most of it before going back to a 9x5 mile island. At the same time, it's a wicked little island. It's stunning and a great way of life. But yeah, from a mountain biking competing point of view, it's got its drawbacks. It's got its downside for sure. Yeah,
and you're like a celebrity on that island now too, aren't you, with the EWS podcast and stuff?
I don't know about that.
King of Jersey, I heard was.
I heard it was Emperor.
Emperor of Jersey was been
call it what you will,
banded around
really.
A little bit, yeah. Do you think that that winter's going to change training, like for you guys, as far as being able to get out and get a ride in before it goes dark?
Guy, you go first, Lou, if you want.
No, I don't think so.
No, you good?
Yeah, I mean, I love training at home. The weather's terrible, like quite a lot of the time, but it's just hard to, I don't know, go somewhere else that, is probably better weather somewhere, but just the trails here are just unreal. Like we've had 2 or 3, I think, EWSs held here, so.
Whereabouts exactly are you based then?
I stay in Innerleithen.
Right.
So we have like Glentress, like 6 miles away, and just heaps of hills and just a lot of different terrain that we can ride. So for me to stay here and I guess deal with the bad weather is something that that I'm happy with doing. So.
Yeah, for sure. Do you plan like in the off season then to get away and ride someplace else? Would that be an advantage for you?
Yeah, I will do at some point. Usually around about January, February time.
Okay.
Just closer to the start of the season and somewhere that you can get some consistent, dry kind of weather in, and just to get away as well, because it's quite a long off season if you're training every single day in wet, snowy conditions, which is kind of general climate here. So yeah.
Very good. What about you, Rich? You fancying a little trip?
Definitely. Like I don't know what next season will hold yet, whether I race or not. So I will just crack on as normal over here. Like I'll just ride and I'll train like normal, like a bit of road riding, lots of mountain biking and stuff.
Yeah.
Get on the motorbike, a bit of motocross, and when I know definitely what's going to happen next season, which I'll try and get something planned out much sooner rather than later. That's when I'll definitely plan a couple of trips away for sure. I mean, I'm not even aiming for like somewhere sunny and warm. I'm just aiming for somewhere that's got a hill on it. So, you know, even just heading back. Originally, I'm from Somerset, so even just heading back home and hitting the hills all around there, you got like the Quantocks and some good riding back home. So even stuff like that is what I'll aim for. If I can get a trip away, we've got some connections in Madeira, so I've been over there a couple of times before in the off season for the little pre-season race, which is good. So I'll do something sort of similar, but otherwise I'll deal with what we got, dig some cool trails over here, which we've been doing lately, and just get it done.
Get it done.
Yeah,
could plan a little trip to see Lou, couldn't we?
Yeah, that's it.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Jersey's always warm though. I don't know if I want to go up there. It's really cold.
It's definitely not going to be warm up there. That's for sure.
No.
You're not going to need your Bermuda shorts.
Oh, really?
Nah, not for
a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, maybe that, as long as it's down.
They make those
in Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Good point.
So I wanted to as well, like, briefly chat about like being at the races and sort of like what goes into your guys' race days. Lou, obviously we've already sort of covered the team and how many other people are sort of involved, but is there anything like special which you guys do that gets you guys like prepared for the races, or is it pretty much just do your own thing and get on with it?
For me, it's pretty much just do what I have to do and get myself ready, really. Yeah. Like I said, pretty fortunate to have the bike looked after. So yeah, I mean, I usually just do my own program as far as like even practicing goes. And then on the race, just wake up, make sure everything's like organized the way I want it, and then kind of do the thing, because the bikes are sorted the night before, and stuff's like, if parts need to be put on, fresh parts, then that'll happen. But usually it's just tires and wheels and like a brand new chain.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, they're taken care of. Yeah. And that's pretty like beneficial as far as, you know, you can jump on the bike and know that it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty basic, to be honest, for myself anyway. I don't have any like pre-race like habits or rituals or anything like that, to be honest.
I think it'd be, again, a massive benefit for you to be quite uniformed. I know, like, obviously me and Rich have chatted after every round he's done this year, and it's been not very uniformed, has it, Rich? There's been hotels, camper vans. What else have you had?
Yeah.
Tents, all sorts of stuff. So do you find that would maybe, again, be a benefit, or do you kind of like it that it is how it is? Mind you, you've got to stay with like family and all sorts of stuff, haven't you, through the year? So yeah. So some of it's actually very like similar to Lewis. I like, you know, the night before you would get everything sort of just prepped, and, you know, your food sorted, your pack if you need it, or your bits that you're going to take with you. That's all sorted, so you haven't got to stress in the morning. Same with your bike. I ain't swapping new parts out, that's for sure. But like, you'll check everything over, just make sure everything's working smooth. You know, do what you can to make your bike work as good as possible and give you the best chance. So knowing that you can just wake up, have your brekkie, get dressed, and roll to the start line. But I've stayed in a lot of different accommodation this year. That doesn't affect me too much. No.
As long as I've always got a good bed to kip in, whether it be a hotel or the camper. We got a camper, which is pretty cool. I like going away in the camper.
Yeah,
because that's like our little
homey.
Exactly, yeah. And I've got like my own stuff, and I just know what's going on. And generally, when you go away, like obviously always Europe or whatever, in the camper, you can take way more stuff than what you can fly with. That's like I think that's like when you fly somewhere, Lewis, do you get just to take whatever you want, or is whatever you like, your excess baggage charges must be phenomenal?
I'll usually fly. So I have a practice bike at home, which is just, and I have a race bike, so they're both the exact same.
Yeah.
Trek hold on to the race bike just so that it's in good condition and it's not at home with me getting thrashed every single day. So I'll fly out usually with my practice bike and like obviously my helmet and my luggage bag. And yes, take that out basically just as a spare or a backup if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had a couple of things happen this year with just bikes going missing. So even though I have a spare bike, it doesn't always come in handy because they can both go missing, which they have done.
What?
Oh, blimey. No way.
Yeah, in France, it was there's quite a big story behind it. But
it could be a whole nother podcast.
It could. Story of Lewis's missing bike.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah. I mean, not much I could do about it.
Right. Airline fault sort of thing, or.
Yeah, it was just I guess. Yeah, I just took my bike or hopped on the plane, got off, and then it just was lost. But I was expecting to show up to the accommodation with a race bike there, and it wasn't because the courier had done something with it. So I had no bike, so I missed the first day of practice and raced stages 1 to 5 blind.
Nice.
Nice. You didn't even say that in the last one. That's
Yeah, no,
that's cool.
That is cool. Where was that?
So
France.
France. So that was quite a crazy experience, to be honest.
And your best result of the year?
That was 15th, yeah. So
shit, dude.
Yeah, that was, I guess, just it was a learning experience, but to be able to do that, like to race blind on those stages and then to just kind of forget about that and then to do a result like that, that's not amazing, but like I'm fairly happy with it, I guess. So
yeah, that's cool.
Stuff, like I said, I have 2 bikes, but stuff can go wrong. So
like all the spares and stuff, do they just take that out then? Does that all get flown out and stuff?
Yeah, it's usually flown out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Wow. The logistics are just insane. I mean,
yeah,
it must be pretty cool because obviously Trek have got probably, I'm not sure, but like maybe a big dealer somewhere, or do they always have a presence at every event? I mean, like how on earth are like Commensal getting all that tent around and stuff, or do they not take it there?
I think dealers like or distributors or whatever, if they are around the venue or the area, they'll maybe chip in or help. But then most teams have a Europe setup, really, like a van and a trailer, and mechanics will drive race to race or whatever. So yeah, that's usually the way it works. That's easiest way, and I guess maybe cheapest way to get parts, bikes, spares around if they have a European setup.
How about you then, Rich? Is it just one bag every time? Or you just keep it light, keep it cheaper?
Yeah, I try to keep it obviously as cheap as possible, but I at the same time, I don't scrimp too much on just not taking anything and not having anything. So like there'll be the bike, a kit bag, and then a couple of times I'll take like spare wheels. So there'll be another bag with wheels in, and that'll have loads of clothes and spare parts and stuff rammed in it. So I don't have a spare bike, but like wheels are a thing that take a pounding. So if I've got spare wheels always sitting at home, so I might as well take them for the extra like 60 quid or something.
Yeah.
It's way worth taking, and then you just get way more baggage allowance. So like that's what I was saying. Like going away in the van is cool because you can just take a massive amount of stuff, and you've always got spares. When you fly, because I fly a lot on my own. When I get to like a hotel or a Airbnb or whatever, I don't want to then have to like go to the local bike shop to buy replacement pads or taking tires are fairly heavy, but they're well expensive in Europe and everywhere else in the world. So you might as well take a spare set of wheels or like some fresh tires on and stuff like that. So yeah, there's some excess baggage charge, but yeah, by no means do I have. There's not 2 bikes, that's for sure. But lucky enough, I still take spare wheels, tires, blah blah blah, bits and bobs.
Got you. Very good, very good. Now, obviously, we could go through each individual round, but we're not going to.
No.
So, probably best. I think we did this last time. Just sort of to do a bit of a summary of the season, if that's cool. So, start off with you, Lou. Like, looking at your season as a whole, if you're an outsider looking in, how do you think it's been?
I'd say up and down. Like, it sounds super cliche, but it's pretty much exactly how it went. Nothing too. I feel like things just, I don't know, didn't go my way, and just had some mechanical issues, and just that kind of ruined kind of opportunities of top tens or whatever, like, that were most likely on the cards for the weekend. So just like in finale, my crank fell off.
It's worth mentioning again that Lewis's crank fell off in the last round and Rich's fell off in the first round. And Rich
crazy,
was significantly further away from home, but Lewis had more on the line.
So that was not great. That was going from having such a good day, like 13th overall, to something like 100 and something. So, and then I guess the bike not showing up in France wasn't too helpful.
And
for the first,
the little issue in Tasmania, which we spoke about too last time, which I think is always worth saying again, because it was. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It's kind of funny, but it's not. You know.
No. Summarize it. Just basically end of stage 6, going to stage 7, I think. I was just tired, sore back, whatnot. Like, just kind of not with it, and just put my bladder down on the ground, which was like between my back and my bib.
Right.
And I didn't read the rules really coming into that weekend. I didn't read the rules in New Zealand either, which is something I'm doing every single round now, which is
because
very
you guys
beneficial.
were saying as well, it's different at every race is going to have different rules.
Yeah, they can change. So I wasn't aware that kind of, even if you're not doing it deliberately or on the sneaky side, wasn't aware that was a rule. So I got a 5-minute penalty, which put me from 11th to 107th, I think. So lost my points for that one.
Crazy.
I guess the only lesson I really learned from that was just not to do it again and just to read the rules. Didn't help that I saw another racer putting something down. So for me, that was like, I just thought it was ultimately okay to do it as well. Learn from your mistakes, and I learned from it, so it won't happen again. But I just think it's definitely worth reading through rules, no matter what race series you're in, like EWS or just any race series. It's definitely something that I would seriously recommend.
Okay, learn from experience. Yeah.
That was a disappointing moment, but I was just stoked that my pace was pretty good. And then Madeira was cool. I think I was 12th at that one, so that was like a fairly good race. And then the rest of the year was pretty consistent, and finished 20th overall, which, like I said, is not something that I'm super happy about, just through the adversity that I kind of faced. But it's definitely not too bad. So
no, it's not. Just
eliminate those mistakes next year and have a little bit more fitness and a little bit more strength and pace, and I think I'll be in a good position.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it, dude. I'm looking forward to watching and tracking it and stuff,
Yeah.
So how about you then, Rich? Like, if you could sum up your season, what would you say?
That's it. That's what I'd say.
Oh, right.
That was, I just summed it up there, mate.
Oh,
nah,
easy.
I had, I had a wicked season. To be fair, I had a mixed bag at a few of them. Obviously, starting the year with a crank sort of dangling off my foot halfway down the first stage was not ideal. but I was in New Zealand and it's well nice, so I took that positive.
It made for a great story too, didn't it, for the first podcast?
I know. I'm like, what a way to open
so
up
short.
the series, isn't it? Yeah,
it's like full of filling.
I did
We're just filling.
I did it for the viewers.
Yeah. That's him, Rich Payne, always doing it for the fans.
Mate, you know someone's got you. But yeah, so that was obviously a right stinker. But then I never. Well, that one I didn't even finish, so we won't count that one. But like, I aimed to finish in the top 100. I did it all of them, bar finale at the end, which we'll get to. But you know, I don't know. Yeah. Performance-wise, I felt pretty happy all the time. I was just always happy to be racing and away with friends and family and in these cool places. It did start not getting stressful, but it's just racing. Being my first sort of near enough full season of EWSs especially, was getting quite draining towards the end. And then I got to finale and like, you know, I'd enjoyed France, Madeira, Ireland, Canada, all amazing races and places to go. And then I got to finale and there was quite a lot of organising, and even though it's not very far, just quite a lot involved of sorting that out. Right. And it was done quite late again and I was just getting a bit mentally frazzled, and my head wasn't in the game on that one, and I just did a bit shit.
Which was, if you remember, we chatted last time, and you said that you found it obviously the most tiring event of the year, whereas Lou didn't find it that difficult. Which is crazy. Like it's weird how it can be so chalk and cheese, but it is what it is.
And I think maybe mindset coming into it was probably obviously different for both of us. So I was already coming into it feeling frazzled mentally, and then I think just the physicality of it just finished me off in all aspects, and then I was just a bit, I don't want to say over it, because finale is a stunning place to go to just ride, chill, be at. It's awesome. But as we said in the podcast at the time after the race, if your head's not in the game, then you're buggered. And it wasn't. So all my stage times were way off of what they were all year. My pace was off. I was just like, my heart rate wasn't even getting high because I was so like tired that I couldn't even push hard enough to get my heart rate up. So yeah, it was a funny one.
Yeah. And it was cool that you were so brutally honest on the podcast too. If anyone's not listened to that, it's pretty good actually, because you were so like, I was just over it by Thursday evening.
I was. Yeah, like I won't go into it all again because it'll probably depress people. But I remember like on Sunday, like as we set off Sunday or after the first or second stage when we had the time check, I remember saying to my old man who was there, like, I could happily just pull over and go for an ice cream with you, Dad, if you wanted, sort of thing. Yeah. I could sack this right off. I chipped on, obviously. I got the job done, and the last stage of finale is amazing, isn't it? They're like such a good stage, and I was like, oh, fuck's sake, now I really want to do it again because this is such a good stage. It just lured me back in. But yeah, so yeah, I had a bit of a mixed bag year, but on the whole, I loved every minute of it, and it just made me want to do it all again next year. Yeah. So,
what would you say your favourite event of the year has been?
Oh, Madeira.
Yeah, Madeira for sure. Yeah, you love that place, hey?
Yeah, I liked Madeira. That's it's just got a total mix of riding and scenery, and it's all natural, nothing really it's cleared, but nothing man-made about it. It's a great and real chilled out place as well. It's a bit like it's 20 years behind sort of thing. It's amazing. Yeah.
I'd like to go there, I think, next year. Worst event of the year for you then, Rich?
In terms of performance or just the one I didn't like? Well, Italy. Yeah. It's a performance. I'm not that, like, Ireland's amazing, and I said this before, but I just find it sometimes, I don't know if it's quite EWS, I don't say worthy, because it's got like really good stages, and it's got an amazing like atmosphere and fans, but they're not like the longest, hardest stages going, and I just think, I don't know, just don't quite see it as a EWS.
Right.
It's like a Super Gnarly National, but
is
not
the 2018 schedule out already?
Yeah, Ireland's in it.
It is in it?
No, it isn't.
Oh, it's not in it? Oh, right. I haven't seen it, I'll be honest with you. Oh,
No, 2018 looks amazing. 2018's a good year.
right. So what about you then, Lou? What was your favourite event of the year?
I would say same as Rich. Madeira was incredible.
Right.
The variety of trails. The dirt was like something I'd never rode before. It was crazy. And then the organisation I thought was good too. Like they just pulled out all the stops really. Like good organisation, good like starting stage, finish area, kind of in the village or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it was just like another unique venue. I never even knew Madeira was a place until the calendar came out.
Really?
So yeah, yeah, it was just cool to go somewhere that was chilled. And
was it your first time there too, Rich?
No, I'd been a couple times before
right.
actually.
I thought you had. Yeah, I remember you'd been there before.
But, like, there's a lot of Madeirans in Jersey, so I did know all about it and knew it had good riding on it. I didn't know how good, but I knew I'd been told by a lot of guys over here that it was really good. Yeah.
And what about for your worst event then, Lou, of the season?
I don't know. I wouldn't really say. Like I went to an event this year and I was like, man, this is not that great. Kind of agree with Rich on the Ireland side.
Right.
It just even though the atmosphere is great, there's just a different vibe about it compared to the other events. There was no like hiccups in the organisation or anything, but just it's such a small hill and it's the same road for kind of every stage, and the stages are good fun, but they're just, I don't know, I feel like they're all pretty similar and there's no variety or terrain change really in a way. Great tracks and whatnot, but
it is like riding your local, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah. So if I have to pick one, I mean, probably be that. But as a whole, I think the series was pretty incredible, and and just enjoyed the experience of each venue for sure.
Awesome. It's cool though that like you guys are both quite different, you know, in your approaches in some ways, but you both have the same outlook on the season, you know.
Yeah. I guess we're both racers at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true. Very true. Cool, guys. Rich, do you think before we do some listener questions, is there anything you know you'd like to ask Lou that I haven't done or?
No, I don't think so.
No,
not that I can remember. Okay. What, like? Oh yeah, like this year. Did you switch up to a 29 this year from a 650B last year? What was the BMC?
The BMC was 29.
Oh, it was as well. Was it similar?
Yeah. So similar travel. Like I ran Shimano and Fox last year, and then it's Shimano and Fox for this year. So
okay. So how does the trek compare? Interest, because I haven't ridden a big travel 29er ever really. I just wondered.
Yeah, it's a bit of a beast. Like it definitely trucks over kind of anything you want really. It's a little bit lighter, a bit more lighter than the BMC. But as far as like feel on the bike and like the kind of movements that you get from it and whatnot are much the same. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really. It's really hard to pick, like, you know, any.
Oh, I'm not making you pick. Don't worry.
Positives. No, but just like they're very similar, like as far as handling wise, and
I think I think all enduro bikes are really good these days, aren't they?
Very true. Yeah. I think it's really hard to buy a bad one.
Yeah. I think you can, but I think when you're spending the amount of money that these bikes cost now, the angles are all very similar, travel. Bits and bobs on them and stuff like that. I think they all work really, really well, don't they?
Yeah, I agree. Really difficult to buy a bad bike these days. And obviously it's on a bit of a boom too. Like there's so many people getting into riding, you know, air quotes enduro. It's crazy.
Enduro.
Lou, is there anything you'd like to ask Rich, or do you think we pretty much covered all the stuff from your point of view?
I was trying to think. I did have a question in the rehearsal podcast that we done, but I can't remember what that was. so it's bugging me.
It's okay. Me either.
Can't think.
I've eliminated that evening from my brain, so it's totally gone. God's sake.
Well, fire away. If it comes back, just drop it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We covered quite a lot of things, I think. So
Yeah.
I was like, all of it. Like I had some little notes jotted down, like why the low key pits, and a few little bits and bobs like that, and like about training and stuff. But we've gone pretty in depth, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. And I think doing it again was always going to be a little difficult because we've had the conversation over again. But I've been thinking today, I'm like, how can I kind of rephrase stuff? But you know what? It's just been the same again. Just sit down, have a chat. It's the best way of doing these things. And I've learned that over doing. I think this will be 35. Like planning them is it's a nightmare. Just don't do it. Just sit down, have a chat. Like you guys are awesome because we can just sit and chat all night long. You don't really need any notes or anything. It's just chatting. It's not that difficult. So
Sure.
Easy. Do you want to do some listener questions?
Fire away.
All right. We had a couple of freshies as well, thanks to Lou and his Instagram post just before. So let me just take my phone off aeroplane mode, and I will find a couple more. Thanks for that, Lou. It's amazing how many new followers you sort of pick up and stuff. It's crazy. All right. So we had a question come in from Marius Jarek, 59. And it was to Lewis, but we can do it for both of you. Lou, are you only riding enduro and bicycles, or do you have another job?
I'm only racing bicycles for a living.
Bicycles.
It's just a full-time, kind of full whack, give it everything I have. No other commitments or side jobs or anything. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate and happy to be in the position I'm in. So it just gives me good motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. And, the training's hard. But, I mean, I have good motivation and a vision and place I want to get. So, just crack on and until I get there and go for as long as I can. Go for as long as I can, really. So.
What's the hardest part of being a professional mountain bike rider? Fighting off chicks.
I wish.
Isn't it,
I
Rich?
wish.
That's the hardest part of being an amateur racer.
Especially on Jersey.
Oh, true.
Jesus.
Hardest part. I would say. If you get if you have an injury or a pretty bad injury, and knowing that that is your job. I guess just trying to get back to good form and I guess being able to prove that you're still capable of, or capable of a spot like on a team or whatever to keep your job going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I said, I've been in that position before, and it's kind of like you're not gonna lie, kind of get desperate. Like you're like, just after anything, like I need some support and like just to do it properly.
Okay.
And
that was interesting what you said actually last time we recorded on the rehearsal podcast. That you literally hustled your way into a ride with Trek, right?
Yeah.
In a way, I don't mean that to sound disrespectful.
Yeah.
But you hustled your way in there. You didn't stop until you got some support, like you said, which is really cool.
Yeah, I just felt like I had to do what I had to do, and it's nothing to do with being desperate. It's just I'll enjoy what I do, and I still feel like I have the talent, speed, and I'm still young, so and the passion for it as well, and I'm motivated and driven. So I did anything I could. Like I said, contacted a lot of people, so for it to happen was pretty awesome. And I'm in a good position now, so I'm definitely not regretting or shy of any decisions that I made to get to where I am now. So
awesome. And it's no secret, Rich, obviously you have a full-time job on the side of being a rider. What is it you do exactly, mate?
I suppose I hold down two jobs in a way.
Yep.
So I own and run Remap Clothing, and I also own a construction firm, I suppose, stonemasonry, building business.
Cool.
So the remap side of things isn't just me. There are others behind it. And obviously that's an online business, so luckily it can be done anywhere. I've got internet connection. I can keep on top of things there. The building side's a little trickier because I have someone working for me, but you just got to make sure they're always busy so the stuff can still get done whilst I'm away. But there's quite a lot of admin which goes with both of those. But they do give me the sort of the cash and the flexibility to be able to do what I've done this year. So pluses and minuses, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Very good. Next one. This is a good question. Came in this evening. And it came from @Blair4MTB on Instagram. And he wanted to know, what are your thoughts on the transition from like a regular enduro season, in brackets, Scottish enduro, but either season, and the differences between stepping that up to racing EWS?
Want me to take this one?
You can do. Have I explained that properly, or have I totally butchered it?
No, it's fine.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Yeah, I mean, so I've raced 4 rounds of the Scottish Enduro Series this year. And yeah, like I said, it's the only other series that I've raced apart from the EWS. So I feel like Scottish Enduro Series is a good stepping stone. Like if you're wanting to, say, take on an EWS race at some point, like the trails are normally pretty technical and quite difficult at Scottish Enduro, but the variety is there, and like, you know, every kind of level of rider or racer, I guess, can do it and can enjoy it, and you know, usually the atmosphere is pretty damn good there. With an EWS, I would say like the atmosphere doesn't change because everyone's super friendly, and it's always good fun. But I would just say towards the sharper end of the result sheet, like things maybe change as far as like the pace and whatnot is a lot higher. I mean, as far as stages as well, EWS, I don't think there's really been anything too gnarly or too, you know, crazy this year. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. Whereas some of the stuff I've raced at Scottish Enduros has been pretty difficult, like super, super hard. But just the overall race time and whatnot's a lot shorter. Yeah, I would say there's differences. But yeah, I mean, Rich, I don't know if you've done any Scottish Enduros. I don't
haven't,
think you have. No.
I've done nationals and stuff up there.
Yeah.
So I've raced like in a Leaf and an A and things.
Right. And do you think there's any like standout kind of differences from a series like that to a kind of world level, or what?
Yeah, I'd say like the differences I find, like overall sort of race time and physicality are obviously harder at an EWS, but also the level of competitions. So if you get punished for mistakes a lot more, and I find even down like my end of the scale, like it's still tight. It's still pretty close. So you know, everyone's pretty good, aren't they? Like you said, you've got to be pretty good to race an EWS. So you know, if you start crashing your brains out and making loads of mistakes, then you'll soon find yourself slipping down the order pretty quick because everyone's really good. People make less mistakes in a way.
Good point.
Yeah, be a bit consistent.
Okay.
Whereas you could race a national, and although the time gaps are in a way tighter because you're doing less race time, you can get away with a few more things, I reckon.
Interesting. Very good, Rich.
Yeah.
Podcast star. All right, next one. At Angus Davies 16 on Instagram. If you could start over with your career, would you do it the same way? And if not, what would you change? Lewis.
I probably wouldn't change anything. I mean, I've made some mistakes in my past, but I mean, examples, just not looking after my body after, you know, having my shoulder, when I dislocated my shoulder when I was 17 or 18. I just didn't kind of do any rehab or kind of thought at the time I thought I knew what I was doing. So I paid the price for that with bad results and a very weak shoulder. So yeah, I guess nothing too bad, just poor choices, and learn from it now. And like I said, with the whole breaking my elbow, like it was like religious, like physio, like I was doing it every day and never missed a beat. So yeah, I'm just gonna say no regrets, really.
That's rad. So, Rich, how about you, mate?
No regrets as far as sort of how I've ended up now and stuff. I lead a pretty good life right now. I don't have a career as a mountain biker, let's say, to think, I wish I'd signed this deal or whatever like that. I suppose if when I used to race back in the UK, when I moved over to Jersey, I was a bit naive and thinking it'd still be easy to go home and race, and I think that's maybe held back myself a little. And I don't wish I didn't live in Jersey, because if I'd never moved here, I'd never have met my amazing girlfriend. But from a riding perspective, it is hampered things a touch, yeah, for sure. I'll be honest about that. But no, everything. I believe everything happens for a reason. So
yeah,
we're where we are because of choices we've made. So
for sure,
and I'm happy where I am. So
that's great.
That's not to say I wouldn't say no to being in Whistler right now or something. But
in fact, that leads on to our next question.
Go on.
At Tobias Lou on Instagram, and it's to you, Rich. Do you think you'd have as much fun racing if you were a professional?
Oh, yeah, I think I would. I'd still love it, because I'd have a different point of. You'd look at racing a lot different, wouldn't you? Because like Lewis, it is a career, and it is a job. So you probably you don't have those stresses of sorting out your blooming hire car and stuff like that, but you do have the pressures of getting results, and you get to travel more. On the flip side, I've been lucky enough to travel the world, meet awesome people, like yourselves, chatting away now, and do all these cool things, and think, well, if I do shit, it's not the end of the world, is it? Like, I'm not going to get sacked. Not that you are, Lou, by the way, bud. But you know what I mean? Like, do you understand? You know what I mean? So it's, I think I would still enjoy it, definitely. Because, again, I'd probably be, like yourself, well stoked with the opportunity to be racing as a pro and need to do it. So, I think I would enjoy it as much.
Cool. Very good. Let's do last one. At Wanna, God, he always makes me laugh, dude. Okay, at Wanna's 69 dude. I'm sure we've had that one before, and I was like, mate, you got to change your name. So at
sorry, what was that name again?
It's Wanna's 69 dude. Everyone go follow him at Wanna's 69 dude. So, what do you make of Sam Hill's transition from enduro to downhill? And we'll start with, I don't know, Lewis. Why not?
Okay. I think it's pretty cool that he stepped over to enduro, but I've said so many times that I don't think it's like him being enduro world champ is not a surprise to me. Just like I said, his results or his career so far, kind of his results speak for themselves. Like no slouch, works hard, has crazy speed on a bike and like capabilities. And I think for him, coming over to a new discipline is like similar, the way that I look at it is that it's motivating, it's a new journey, kind of fresh faces and new venues, different style of bike, enduro is just completely different, and I think some people
both too, right? So you race some World Cup downhill, Would you say it's a little bit more like just chilled out, a bit more, I don't know, not as serious on race day or anything like that?
It's a tough one to really like pinpoint. I would say it's more relaxed atmosphere. But I mean, you know, we're out on the bike for 7 hours a day, and you know, if you don't interact with people, it's going to be a very hard and mentally draining, boring day for you. So
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, everyone has each other's back, and when you're out there, which is cool. I think it's worth mentioning that in Ireland, when I snapped my chain on stage, I think stage 4, and I didn't have a spare chain or any links with me or anything, and I had to try and get back up to the start of stage 5, and I think that the transitions were pretty tight in Ireland.
Yeah, they were actually.
So I'm like, how am I going to make it to the top? You know, like walking or running. So, Johan Barelli, a Portuguese racer, and I think it was Jesse on Rocky Mountain.
Okay.
Like Johan took his tube out, tied it around a seat post, and towed me along the road with Jesse like pushing on my back.
Really? Wow.
And they pretty much took me all the way to the top, and I made my stage time. And like, that's just, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And they had their own time to make it there. And I think it just goes a long way. Like, we're racing at a high level and against each other, but you know, like when someone is in a bit of a sticky situation, like I said, people are there for you. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it was definitely cool. Like a moment that stands out to me for sure, because I would do the same for them. So yeah, I think it's just a friendly atmosphere, and I mean, I've known Sam from the downhill days too, but I think he's a completely different person now, just more approachable, and obviously he's doing really well right now, which helps. But yeah, I think it's just cool, and again, it raises the bar for everyone, and makes everyone hungry to go after him, I guess, next year.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Okay.
So.
What about you, Rich? What's your thoughts on Sam's transition?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a beast, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's awesome on a bike. So yeah, like Lewis said, it's no surprise that he's done well and won it, because he is a hell of a rider. So yeah, I don't think. I think obviously he's smart enough and been in the game long enough to adapt his training and his ed games and know what to do for enduro. So yeah, I wouldn't have said it's a surprise.
No,
maybe he's been like super consistently like up there all year. Has he ever finished outside the top 5? I don't think so. So
no, I'm not sure either. And yeah,
I got to say there's probably a little bit of luck in there, because I bet you most other people in that top 10 or top 20 even, like, have probably had a duff rounds, whereas, you know, him, even I think Greg's had a stinker here or there maybe in comparison to some of his other results, and same with Adrian Daly. So I think he's just managed to keep that consistency, and experience has won.
For sure. Yeah. Sweet. There we go, dudes.
Yeah.
I think I need to say a massive thank you to you both there for doing this again. Like, I still can't get over that. I know I've sent a million messages saying sorry, but thanks so much for sitting back down and doing this again. And I think it's as good as the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I hope so. Did you press record? Can you just check? Is it recording?
Yeah.
Don't ask me at the end to check.
Imagine that. I ain't doing it a third time, mate. I'll be honest.
This is the third time. That's one of the cool things too. So we then arranged to do this again for people out there listening. And Rich's internet didn't work.
We did, yeah. I've now got my computer plugged straight into the wireless box thing. What do you call them? The router.
The router.
So
we finally got this laid down, guys. So thank you so much for doing it again. Like, and then, for both of you, Lou, it's been rad to watch your journey through the year as well. Like, obviously having you on this thing all the way back. I can't remember the episode number, but and then watch you have a killer year. I know we've exchanged a few messages and stuff over the year, but massive props, dude. I think you should give yourself a massive pat on the back. You've done super definitely. Season, like insane.
Thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate it.
And obviously, Rich, you as well. It's been amazing to chat all year, basically. You know, and I'm looking forward to what next year brings. I think there's a few things happening behind the scenes by the sounds of things. I've got a few things up my sleeve which I need to sort out with you as well.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to give you 2 more sets of brake pads next year, and it's.
Oh.
But you can sell them on eBay. But in all seriousness, man, it's been rad. It's been cool to sit down with both of you and chat about the differences you've both had. And I'm sorry we had to do it again. And thanks everyone out there who listens for listening to this, even though it's not as organic as we maybe wanted it to be, but I still think it's been really good.
It's been cool, and it's been good to chat to you, listen, sort of see things from the other side, and
I think we should definitely
a casual chat about it. Not many people will just casually chat about their bikes and what goes into their training and all kinds. And
that's the beauty of these things. It's literally I'm not exaggerating when I say I personally don't really plan it. It's just sit down and have a chat, and it goes where it goes, and it's rad to have cool guys like you guys on. So but yeah, Rich, let's head up. We'll go see Lewis or something at some point after Christmas. Go for a ride and a iron brew or whatever you guys do up there.
All right.
Sweet.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Okay,
cool.
cool.
All right, guys. You have a good evening, and we'll no doubt speak soon.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys. Pleasure.
See you. See you guys. Bye.
Cheers.
There we go, folks. Episode number 35 in the bag. Thanks a bunch for listening. Sorry about the first one, which is lost and will never be heard by anybody again. Sucks. But if you did enjoy the podcast, please head to iTunes, leave us some feedback. Just leave a review, 5 stars if possible. If not, give us some constructive criticism. It's always good to read it. And please share it with your friends too. The more the merrier. And hopefully we'll see you guys at Pete's Bike Bonanza. Don't forget, if you don't already, make sure you follow Rich at Payne25 on Instagram, and Lewis as well. I believe it's at Lou Buchanan. Make sure you tell him that you listened and all that sort of good stuff. It's been a pleasure. It's been a drama, but it's been a pleasure, and we'll no doubt catch up soon. Have a great week, folks. Peace out.